Hello,
Welcome,
hello.
welcome. So we're gonna wait to share it out. Are we gonna share it out?
Let's just get cracking. How about that?
Let's just get cracking. Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Alicia Minto coming in from South Carolina.
Hey, what's going on? It's Chris K from New Jersey.
And it's your girl Tasheen Poole coming in from South Carolina.
We are bringing you real money talk.
From real people.
With real struggles on a real journey to financial freedom.
We are called to break down the global economic ideas.
To help you grasp and understand what's happening around you and how it impacts your livelihood.
So here are, I'm sorry. Guys, I'm so sorry. So here's the red pill perspective, the red pill revelation from our perspective as thinkers, as we navigate through this twilight zone and what we can do in the now to protect ourselves.
We are the Real Money Entourage.
We are the Real Money Entourage.
We are the Real Money Entourage.
And we are going to get our lives together one day, me specifically. Welcome, guys, to the Real Money Entourage. Tasheen here. I don't know. I had like a brain freeze or something in that moment. Please forgive me. But anyway,
it happens.
We're excited to come to you today. We were here on Wednesday, a couple days ago, and we dove into part of the hidden secrets of money because we are the Real Money Entourage and we wanted to bring you what real money is. So today we're gonna do a second half of that, give you some definitions on the monetary system and the history behind it and how it typically repeats itself. Chris, what you got?
Well, you know, history repeats itself quite often. I'm sure we have like fashion, certain behaviors. I mean, we can go on for days about how, you know, things kind of recycle itself. You know, what goes around comes around. And so, you know, in other words.
So that includes money then too, right?
Of course. Of course. That's like the main thing that has to be recycled when it comes to, you know, keeping the economy going. It has to be a recycle of money.
Absolutely.
It's just the way that our system has been recycling the money, or the so-called money, or what we learned in our last episode, currency, not actually money. Alicia's actually going to help us break that down today. Absolutely. So Alicia, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Well, before I do, let's just say this, because when we talk about money and history repeating itself, you know, you get the yeah, okay. But, you know, for the last 2 generations, we haven't really talked about real money because real money was never integrated into our economy, right? So let's make it easier for you. So I know you guys, a lot of you guys are probably like, why did this come back into fashion? How did this come back into fashion? Who brought this back into fashion? You guys remember these?
That's a good old penny pack. Yes, ma'am.
Like, who brought these back? But history, it's repeating itself, right? And now they're fashionable. Like the kids wear them all the time. Even better, scrunchies, right? Like my daughter has 1,000 of these. 1,000 of them. You remember you used to wear them like with your ponytail? Like this was what, late 70s, early 80s? This was a thing. Mm-hmm. You had to have a scrunchie to match everything. So history repeats itself, you know, guys. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. And more or less, you know, especially with our monetary system, you'll see that there are stages to how history starts to repeat itself. So we're actually going to show you a video that's going to explain exactly the stages of how our economy is shifting and the reasons why it's shifting. So Tasheen, you can go ahead and play that video for us.
Can you guys see the screen?
You can see your screen.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not moving as slow.
What are we looking at?
We are looking at the 7 stages of the empire, as Alicia just mentioned. So we're going to play a little bit of it.
Okay.
Hidden Secrets of Money. the 7 stages of empire. It's a long-term cycle that echoes throughout history right to this very day and is basically a societal pendulum that swings from quality money to quantity currency and back again to quality money. It always plays out in 7 stages. It always ends with gold delivering a knockout blow to debased currencies. And it goes like this. Stage 1. A country starts out with good money, which is either gold or silver, or it's backed by gold or silver. Stage 2. As it develops economically and socially, it begins to take on more and more economic burdens, adding layer upon layer of public works. Stage 3. As its economic affluence grows, so does its political influence, and it increases expenditures to fund a massive military. Stage 4. Eventually, it puts its military to use, and expenditures explode. Stage 5. To fund the war, it steals the wealth of its people by debasing their coinage with base metals, or by replacing their money with currency that can be created in unlimited quantities. Stage 6. The loss in purchasing power of the expanded currency supply is sensed by the population and the financial markets, triggering a loss of faith in the currency. Stage 7. A mass movement out of currency into precious metals and other tangible assets takes place. The currency collapses, and gold and silver rise in price as they account for the huge quantity of currency that was created. This process transfers massive wealth to those who had the foresight to position themselves beforehand in real money, gold and silver.
Basically steals
right.
from the poor. And
So
middle class
Alicia,
and
before we
transfers
break that
wealth
down,
to the
because I know
banks.
that you're
See
gonna
this throughout.
break down the 7 stages of empire, I want to kind of dig into a couple of definitions. So first is deficit spending, and then debasement. So my understanding of deficit spending is when, I believe he mentioned it on number 2, like stage 2, where we have all of these public works. So that means that we really don't have the capital. Let's just use it like a business terms. And we don't have the capital for what it is that we want to buy, create, make, or have come into your city or area. So because we don't have that money, and we have the influence, or we have something that makes people think that we can pay them back, essentially, then that is what deficit spending is. It's credit.
Absolutely.
It's a souped up word for credit. Is that right?
Yes, I was just about to say it's on the same scale as if I went into a furniture store and I wanted to redo my bedroom and my living room, and my credit is a 800, so I'm good for it, and they allow me this credit line or this out of the blue money, if you will, to go ahead and get what I want. And it's the same thing on a larger scale when it comes to the U.S. government. So yes, they're paving roads, and they're putting up these buildings and schools, and they're funding different public works. But there's no real money being utilized. It's dollars, it's currency that has not been backed by anything. So yeah, you're spending something that's not even there. There's a deficit in your spending.
Okay.
It's right there.
Then the other one was debasement. And so my understanding of debasement, and just real quick, guys, we are not financial advisors or anything like that. We are simply just regurgitating information that we've collected on our own. We're bringing the information as thinkers, like we said at the beginning. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But debasement, my understanding of that is when you have a sound money, such as gold, or let's just say a coin. There was a solid gold coin. And because I don't have, let's just say that there's, I give the bank $10 worth of coins, or 10 coins. Let's just say that. I give the bank 10 coins. And what the bank does with my coins is, because they have them and they give me this claim check, and maybe we'll get into that, but they give me this check, or they give me this piece of paper to say that I can cash out my coins. Well, if I do that so frequently, then I'm not going to have enough coins to give the people who are coming in to get their claim check. So debasement means that they are then taking the pure coin and then making like additional coins, but the purity is less and less. Is that right? I know I kind of, can you give us a simpler, because I feel like I went around the world to kind of, can you simplify that for us?
Right. So the real definition is the process of spoiling something or reducing its value by combining it with another material. So for instance, you have silver, you have gold. This quarter looks like it's a silver quarter, but it's not. They started to debase the quarters. They started to debase all the coins, really. And in the edge of it is not silver. Well, it's not even silver anymore. But what I'm saying is they've kept the look, but they've changed the material.
Right.
Wow, so it's not even solid silver. It's not even real silver.
It is not, right. And the change before, or the coins before, were weighed. And now they can't, because the material is no longer a weighable. Right. It's not a silver or a gold to weigh it to get its value anymore. So there's no longer a face value. Well, it's really all you have is a face value.
Face value, that's it.
No longer an intrinsic value or a measurement of value. It's really just a face value, a trust that this is going to be 25 cents when I take it to the store. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Wow. Chris, you want to add to that?
Sad part is actually it's not 25 cents anymore. It's like, so it changed the size, not the size, it changed the weight, it changed the material, and it lost value. Subliminally lost value, because we're talking about inflation here. But to the blind eye, it's going to say 25 cents. But if you go to the store to get a pack of 25-cent gum, you're not paying 25 cents for that. You're going to at least pay 30-something cents, depending on where you at in the country. So yeah, the basement, in addition to the look, but the value. So we losing value as well, just by keeping our money in cash and currency.
Right. Because let's just say 4 quarters. Well, we know 4 quarters is $1. Now let's just say we've been told that 4 quarters is $1, but we also know that due to the loss of purchasing power, $1 has lost about 97% of its purchasing power, which means that $1 is only worth 3 cents. So if the $1 is only worth 3 cents, how much is this quarter worth? Nothing.
So can you give us, can you or Chris give us a real life example of that? And it can be something small, like,
no, I'm gonna give you something big.
In perspective.
I'm gonna give you something big. And this is an example that we at Wealth Builders Worldwide use quite often. So in 1920, you could get a Ford truck for $645. Okay. And in 1920, a kilogram of gold was worth $645. Let's go 100 years later to 2020. You're going to get a Ford truck. That Ford truck's probably going to cost you about $45,000, $45,000, right? If you want to fully load it and chromed out all that, you're going to pay a little bit more. But let's just say $45,000 for a nice pickup truck. Yes, it took a whole lot more to make it. Yes, it does a whole lot more. Yes, it warms your tushy. Yes, you have a moonroof. So we're not saying that it hasn't improved drastically. It has. And you're going to pay for that. Guess what? You can take that same kilogram of gold that you used in 1920, and you can get that truck and get about $10,000 change back. Because the kilogram hasn't changed. The purchasing power of our dollars have, right? The purchasing power. So this has lost so much purchasing power that you can take that same, now this isn't a kilogram, this is 1 gram, but you could take a kilogram and get the same truck and get change back. Because a kilogram in 1920 was $645, and in 2020 it's almost $56,000 today, a kilogram of gold.
Wow.
So
and
which would you have rather your grandfather gave you in 1920? A kilogram of gold or that Ford truck?
Now that the way you explain it that way, the gold. But exactly. It's sad that, like, the history was, I can't say, like, it was torn from us, because at one point in time, gold was illegal. and people didn't realize that, you know, gold has came illegal again or accessible, you know, for the working man. They made it accessible for us back in the 70s, but that's hidden. I can't say hidden. It's information that we have not acquired or looked for.
Just
You know what I
two
mean?
generations.
Right.
We don't look back far enough. Only two generations don't really understand the value of gold. Just two. We're not talking slave era. We're not talking, I mean, we're talking two generations. Your great grandparents, their money was backed by gold. Their money was backed by gold.
Right.
Just two, but we won't look far enough into history to understand that this is where we were, and now look where we are.
I think too that you could probably argue with the car and being souped up and stuff, because I feel like cars back in the day were made a little bit better than the cars that are here now. Even with the cereal boxes, like I know back in the day, and I'm a cereal. I'm trying to wean myself off of it, but I love cereal, right? But I remember cereal it tastes different and everything, so value may not even be there either.
Right.
But we're paying more for it, and that's just because of inflation.
Right.
So Alicia, do you want to? We got about 10 minutes left. Let's go ahead and dive into the stages of the state of the empire and see if we can break that down.
Absolutely. And in a nutshell, all that it really means is that you took quality money, and we already know what money is. We're not talking currency. You took quality money and you swung over to quantity currency. So you went from having intrinsic value money into a plethora of something that has no value, just so that you could utilize it in the economy. So that's really the baseline of it. But yeah, 1 through 7. So you start with good money. Again, money. You start with good money, real money. That's stage 1. Great. Stage 2 starts the economic burden. And they call it a burden because it really becomes a burden on those who are taxed on the issues that they're bringing upon the people who are utilizing the currency. So now you're talking public works and roads and schools and all these things being built and infrastructure and things like that, stuff that we need, but there has to be a better way of getting these things done. So then you go from that to increasing the expenditures, right? We're spending so much more than what we have, which is the reason why we got taken off of the gold standard, because we were printing too much money and we couldn't back it by that intrinsic value of gold. So now here we go slash the dollar from good money. Now those things start to explode out of control. And that's really what happened, way back. All the countries started to want to take their reserves back from us, to where we were left with minimal gold reserves. And we continue to just print money. So now we're funding wars and doing all these things with money that is just coming out of thin air, or really off of a printing press. We move into stage 5, which is the debasement. So we talked about that, how they start to water down the dollar, start watering down the coins that we're using, and have this unlimited supply of something that has no intrinsic value, which pushes us into where we are right now.
Right
now, which is stage 6, and that's the loss of purchasing power. And that will come to a very scary halt when people start to lose faith in the government, and I believe we're close to that. I believe the the leader of the free world told us to do something with Clorox or something today. I don't know, whatever the case may be, but we're starting to lose faith in our government, and we have to understand that now more than ever you do need to start protecting the economy in your own home. So we are losing purchasing power. This $20 will not buy today what it used to buy. in 1998 or 2008. Definitely won't fill up any grocery carts. It'll barely fill up a little hand basket that you put on your arm in the grocery store. So the goods haven't changed, but our dollar has. And once the loss of purchasing power happens and we lose complete faith in our government, we're going to move out of the current currency and into a new monetary system. And that's when the collapse of the dollar happens. And we should understand and know some history, because every 35 to 40 years, there's a new monetary system that happens. So
And people don't.
and people
Yeah.
have no idea. They have no idea. And I didn't know. We didn't know this information. This is such an eye opener to all of us, because we didn't have this information growing up. This wasn't taught in schools, so that we could have a leg up, if you will, on, really protecting ourselves financially. So yes, every 35 to 40 years, a new monetary system comes into play. And so we're at that point. We've actually exceeded that point now, where, we've been working off of this dollar, this debt note, this reserve note, as it says right up top. And sooner or later,
Clear as day.
Yeah, sooner or later, we're going to hit that stage 7.
And I believe it's going to be way sooner than later. So
Right.
Alicia just kind of went over the
Yeah.
state of the empire. And just to put that in layman's terms, what that basically means is that there is because everything is a system, right? We have a monetary system. So typically, just going back in history, you're able to see over a period of time that these large empires have collapsed because of a certain behavior or activity that they're doing. So nothing is different today than they did several hundred thousands of years ago, like
Right.
literally thousands of years ago. We watched it, and they were talking about the first civilization who even was able to, when the coin was first, the first gold coin was used, that was like 630 BC. So it has been happening for a long time.
Right.
But we have this thing where, and the guy kind of mentioned it in the video where he talked about how if it's not a recency thing, where if it's not happening to us right now, then we don't understand.
Right.
It's not something that we can fathom or put our minds around because it's not happening right now. But what we don't know is that not paying attention to this information, you're going to be wiped out. I mean, that's just facts. Chris, do you want to add anything, before we close up?
Hey man, y'all on fire, man. I'm just happy to be here. You hear me?
Look, we're gonna say it one more time. You want to exchange this paper currency for real money gold?
I got some gold on here.
That's all you want to do. You want to exchange it and you want to hold it. You hold it. I'm not holding it. I don't want it. I don't want this. I don't want this that belongs to you. This is all yours. But prepare yourselves, prepare your family, prepare your community, and let them know that this is not going to protect them. This is literally a piece of paper. This is not a shield. This is not something that's going to hold any value. We already know it's losing value. But this right here with gold in it, this is almost the equivalent. Okay. And so you want to be able to protect what you worked so hard for. You're begging to go. Well, some of you are begging to go back to work. Some of you are working from home. Some of you are hopefully by now receiving some unemployment, and make sure that you take just a portion of it, just a portion, and exchange it.
Look, I got $13, $14, $15 worth today. I mean, it's really.
You don't have to come in here with $1,000.
And what we
If
have
you
is
got it, you should, but
If you got it, you better. I would encourage, if you got it, let it go.
right. And let's talk about 401ks. I mean, they've opened it up for you to get your money out of that 401k. Like, when has that ever happened?
Never in life.
And then you just let it sit there and you see what's happening with the stocks. And you got to understand that this up and down situation is not in your favor
It
with
does
your
not mean
401k.
reimbursement. It does
Right.
not mean reimbursement. Like,
Oh,
Yeah, like you lose it, but that don't mean that because the stocks is up that you automatically gonna get all your old gains back. You're not getting the gains back, bro. You're not getting them back. You might as well, if you want to keep it in from today on, from the opening bell, you might have a chance to win some. But 9 times out of 10, if you don't have enough money invested in the stock, you will not gain any real profit. You cannot pull the money right out. So, I mean, people have their own understanding. It's sad that you got to go through some hell, in other words, to realize that that's not, but sometimes that's life. We have to, you know what I mean? We're just trying to prevent, we're trying to put this information out so you can prevent and you can avoid putting yourself in them type of situations, and you can have an easier yellow brick road to travel on. You know what I mean? In other words, so
we're trying to get you to the emerald world, the world of whatever it
City,
was.
Emerald City, yeah.
Emerald City, we're trying to get you to Emerald City without all the fields of poppies and all the scary stuff. Like, we're trying to get you there. Gold is the way.
Yeah,
gold is the way. And I've been we will probably get it up here because guys, we want to have it, or I really want to have a discussion about stocks and what stocks we should invest in right now. So maybe we'll come with our next episode or episode after that to share that info or our insight on that. Chris, I'm gonna turn it back to you to close this out so we can let these people go.
so the same rules apply, man. We just practicing better addictions, more positive addictions. We all have addictions. We need to focus on what's going to benefit us tomorrow. Today, so it's pretty much, I don't want to dwell too heavy into it. Do research. If there's something on this stream that struck a light bulb, struck a match, go follow up on it. Please, we encourage you to. We're not financial advisors. We just giving y'all opinions of the information that we received, and we just want the best for our family and our loved ones. You know what I mean? So we spreading love, health, and wealth, man. That's really it, man. Aou.
Oh.